Yeah, DoelowDaPilotman. All right now. That's it. Yeah. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's it. All right now. Let me tell you something. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. Yeah. Party hard, hard, bitch. That's it. Yeah. I'm on a plane, ho. The way I be flying just like the ocean waves, you gon' need a raincoat. I just took the horn straight up off the devil car, nigga, I'm the great ghost. Knock your ass out the only source you gon' see the ones up on the rainbow. Yeah, I'm that shit that fell off the pamper. The world's so fucked up, we can see some killers on camera. Been to New York, Philadelphia, and I jumped in Atlanta. At the roof on fire, Ariel, hold the ceiling for ransom. I'm on your helmet like dandruff. I ain't from Chicago, but I've been in the trail. God's MC, nigga, we don't really give a fuck how many niggas you kill. I ain't pay for everything else in the world, but you forgetting your bills. I ain't from this reality, but you know you're already been in the field. Yeah, now why you laughing at me, ho? I'm pop my cheese and nachos like a bag of Doritos. I last in libido. Fuck you all night, I need a cash for my P.O. Drop that ass to your knees, ho. That's it, yeah. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. Yeah. It's the flight boss, bitch. I've been around the world just like a solar system. I got way more knowledge than the Nikola Tesla. Before it all unfolded, you got coded with them. They using signs and symbols, create omens with them. Your crystals and your gems is like some glowing prisms that represent that spaceship that your soul is ripping. Yeah, as above below, you know the stars watching. That is why a motherfucking star walking. Yeah. I'm in a starship in space. No, I ain't fucking plane, but you know I go harder to pay. Fuck with Yuri again when the daytime, it's gonna get darker today. Like Moses was parting the sea, I put a part in your face, yeah. Now you need some milk and some minerals. How your face looking like Michael Jackson outfit with a zipper coat. How your ass sounding like James Brown, you ain't listening to Mystical. I'm playing ring around on Rosie with your hoe, she got you wrapped around her finger roll. And that's it, yeah. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. That's it. Let me tell you something. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. I be going hard, bitch, flying in my starship. Yeah. That's all, bitch.
That's all, folks. Don't get lost. Because we get ready to take this spaceship and fly over into the esoteric world and stuff like that. You're going to see where you at. You're going to see what's making energies. And you're going to see where you be making energies at. And you're going to be like, I don't like that energy. Let me lock that one away. You know what I'm saying? Other people may see, oh, damn. Why haven't I been using that energy? That's gold. Other people may see it as, I ain't never been nobody, so why I'm even going to see something now that I ain't see before, and why I'm even going to try. It's just going to play out in the third dimension as self-doubt. Another person stumbling over some esoteric creativity, well, esoteric gold that comes out as creativity that you ain't know they had, or whatever the case may be. And another person may just choose to go ahead and don't lock it away, but they know they retarded because, you know, it take ears to see, eyes to hear. You know what I'm saying? So once a person know they like low-key degenerate in the spiritual world, they start fighting it. You know what I'm saying? They start fighting. No, it ain't this because I could do it this way or I could do it that way or whatever the case may be. And, you know, a lot of y'all still ended up in jail. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all still ended up in hell. A lot of y'all still ended up divorced. A lot of y'all still ended up with no job. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all still, it's the same type of circumstance. And not to say you always in these situations because of that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, you know, people move on when it comes into relationships or marriage. Sometimes people switch up, don't want the job no more, or it may have been other mistakes that have may have happened when it comes into a person not working at a job anymore. It may have been a lot of other things that may take course. So I don't want people to put all esoteric A's in a basket or whatever, especially when it comes into certain situations that you may have experienced that was similar. So you not having a lighter way of looking at it will allow you to get more depressed within a situation, even if you're not even currently experiencing it. So you slightly over it, but you know, your spirit and the spiritual state that you in is not over it. So you still developing those mental cloths, those clothes and stuff, and you still wearing it. So you still getting offended anytime the esoteric, whether it rain in the esoteric world, in that city and state, into the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, you still got those clothes on that you have to wear to protect yourself for those rainfalls and stuff like that. So in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, this take as you getting offended by things you shouldn't even be getting offended anymore for. You know what I'm saying? The same thing that a broke person, when you was broke, that you was getting offended for, now you rich, you shouldn't be getting offended for that anymore. And it's a lot of things that may take you to that same place, that may make you do the same outcomes, that you know will put you in a more effed up position, and you don't even have to do that because you're in a different space. So while you are still allowing that bum to make you do something for 5 seconds and then it'll get you into jail for 5 years, why are you still allowing that family member to frustrate you, and you want to play tit for tat in areas that you don't even have to, you can't even spend a lot of time because it's going to take you away from what put you in a better position in the first place or whatever. Now your talent is going towards things in the opposite direction of what you was in that tit for tat mission, or tit for tat war with your family, friend, or associate or coworker of in the first place. So a lot of times you just get took off track, not knowing you're around other individuals who ain't have a track to be on in the first place. And a lot of times they be finding your railroad track to go in your direction and don't even be putting in the same effort or putting in the same work. Don't be putting no coal on the back of the esoteric train. You know what I'm saying? Don't be putting no goddamn it luggage on the back of the esoteric boat or whatever. And after you already laid the platform, script out the direction or whatever the case may be, make sure the esoteric spaceship boat is sailing in the right area or whatever. Then here come a whole bunch of people slowing you down, and you ain't even going to that destination as fast or prosperous as you can or whatever the case may be. Then you got people taking all the effort and slowing you down and not even recouping or regenerating that same type of value or however. And then now you MC Hammer complaining somewhere because you didn't got your backup dancers rich or whatever because you thought you was being a good person. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't even the ones writing the lyrics. They wasn't even the ones, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't nobody or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, you ain't peep game. But that's just a spiritual nature that people, everybody, not just from the hood, not just in the reservations, but everybody go through these type of circumstances or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you stumble across some gold, you know, you want to continue to go in that direction because where that was at, it could be a much more. Where that came from is much more. So a lot of times when you give a certain direction towards individuals who ain't even help you, or you can see from a trajectory from a distance, they're not willing to put in that effort to find a direction themselves. The direction alone, a person would take that from you and then still just expect you, when that's dried up, to find another direction where it's some more gold at or whatever. Then that's when you're getting spiritually abused because you see people around you ain't putting in no emotional effort, ain't putting in a thought effort, and that ain't transmuting into the physical effort either. Yet these are some of the same people that you think supposed to be putting in these things that how you got in that position in the first place know will have to be put down. And every now and then that goes through an internal battle. What to separate from, where to create animosity at that is placed in the right way, that this person can't use another angle to still make me feel bad about a decision that I know I'm making that's very clear and I know is better for the trajectory of wherever I'm going or however the case may be. And when you don't look at that as important, a lot of times y'all will allow individuals that's close to y'all or even people that you have met along the way just hold you back in areas you're not even knowing you're being held back yet, until it's a situation to know that you were supposed to be a little bit further and whatever your goals or whatever that you was trying to substantiate. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times y'all have to be careful what it comes to what these certain individuals say out their mouth, because when they know you in a certain path but they don't have the remnants of actually building with you or whatever the case may be, they'll say anything to keep that train ticket. They say anything to keep that esoteric plane ticket, to stay in that esoteric back seat while you pilot the direction or whatever. And every now and then you going to want to fall to sleep like other individuals. Is this the problem with you and between them is they can't fall to sleep. I mean, you can't fall to sleep because you at pilot or pilot 24/7 out of the relationships and things of that nature. But you know that they could fall to sleep whenever they want to and move suitcases around or whatever. But so they don't got the same responsibility, and it becomes hard when you need to find a responsibility for them, especially when you can see from a distance they don't even got that effort building quality or whatever the case may be. Yet these are people you close to, yet these are people you want to make a part of things, and you know it's an extra effort having to go to distance trying to accumulate strangers to still create that same perspective or whatever the case may be. So a lot of times this become our own internal battles and knowing what to actually fight for, what we control and what we can't control. And a lot of times just because something is very close doesn't mean you can control it in the way that you think you can control it, and vice versa. So only try to control things you can. Because a lot of times this is where a lot of y'all negative relationships come from, especially when it comes into family, parent-child relationships. Even if you're an adult, or if the parent and the parent is a mistake, or even siblings and things of that nature, or these where a lot of these things come from, because the expectation energy, the devil energy, and it can be placed and key or misplaced, for lack of better terms, in areas that we thought it should be placed. And then we have those expectations filtered through a person, place, or thing, and then we may put that energy on wrong timing or whatever the case may be. So when we don't get what's expected, when we don't get the devil, because you can replace the devil with expectation or whatever the case may be, here you go into a world of hurt, or a world of trial or tribulation, or thinking you are deserving or something like that, or really ready to cast stones on other individuals. So you need to know that it gets tricky. The devil could play through anybody. It could play through family, friends, associates, and co-workers. And the moment it starts developing expectation energy, you have already bit a fruit, because all your relationships supposed to be substantiated on or grounded on non-expectation. But since we live in a devilish world, an expectant world, you know what I'm saying, transactional world, or however the case may be, it's hard to do anything without the devil. It's hard to trust anything without the devil. Devil represents pattern and routine or whatever. So you can expect. The devil taught us about spring, summer, fall, and winter. You know what I'm saying? Leave it up to God. God separate every now and then. So you got to find God. Every now and then, if you in tune with nature, you can see that that tree didn't grow in the same position that it grew last year. That tree leaf didn't die the same color that it died last year. This animal didn't take the same pattern. My thought form wasn't exactly the same. Every now and then you get pieces of God to kick it, but if you too lost in pattern and too lost in the expectation, yeah, it got a lot of fruit sometimes, even fruits with no seeds that you rather eat anyway, because you tired of plucking out the seeds. So it become lazy spiritually and minded also when it comes to something just being there that can lead into taking advantage of it, taking it for granted, abusing it, not knowing it's a piece of you. So whatever you're doing outwardly, you're doing to yourself. This may be how you see yourself, or however the case may be. And a lot of times it's rooted on the devil. It's rooted on expectation. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of other people need to understand too, other ethnic groups and religions and stuff like that. Stop tying the devil onto actual people and their backgrounds and ethnic groups and stuff like that. No, the devil's beyond that. And when we know what we're doing, and we know that these are just a lot of words that we're all trying to understand, I'm pretty sure animals and bugs got their own understanding or whatever the case may be, we'll actually know who to point to or what to point to and what spirits is in that space. And then you'll be surprised a lot of times. You out casting stones and it might be somebody right next to you. It might be one of your family, friends, or associates or coworkers. I see these movies all the time. I watch Juice and see what Bishop did to his homies. You know what I'm saying? He was terrorizing his homies. Q! Q, you coming outside today, Q? That's out terrorizing his homies. Rest in peace, Pop. Q and Steel and them. This ain't got no sense. But like I said, man, the life shows us, movie shows us. It's a movie imitate life. Art imitate life. So any book you read imitate life or whatever. So don't get into an expectation where you expect it from one area, and where you don't expect it, God will hit you with something just like it to let you know, get out of expectation. It can come in many ways. And that's how when something negative happened to you, but God did it. And that's how God showed you how to look for the devil. Hey, you might have took a bite of the fruit that the devil may have gave you, and you start calling that thing God or whatever the case may be. The next fruit wasn't as juicy as the last one. What you expected wasn't as much of the validation as it was the last time. What you get ready to do to get it the next time, I'm letting you know that's the wrong path. You keep going down there, go ahead. Keep going down that path, man. You know what I'm saying? That's as far as God gonna talk to you. And it might not be a word at all. That's as far as God gonna show you. And it might not be a goddamn visualization at all, but if you can't get in tune with it or whatever the case may be, you're spiritually lost. And those trials and tribulations that the devil puts you in is going to make you feel more distant from God and more lost into expectation. until the devil take everything away from you. Can't expect nothing from that family, friend, associate, co-worker, or nothing. Like a lot of y'all in jail right now, you done drank up your, warmed out your welcome when it comes to your auntie and her pocketbook, and your mother and her pocketbook, and your grandmother and all the women in your family pocketbook and their job. They got men in their life that ain't in jail. Yo, you forgot about that part. You know what I'm saying? Saying betting on stuff too much and too much expectation, no matter what situation you in. The devil is beyond that, and it'll make you hate the people you close to if the fruit that you got from the devil, you can't get it through them. It'll use anybody too. It'll filter through. You got to learn. It'll use you because you lost an expectation, and once you all dried up, the devil can't use you no more. And when you know the devil can't use you no more, everything you was filtering your comfort zones through your expectations, people, places, and things or whatever, all that's gone too. Can't expect it no more. You know what I'm saying? You see where P. Diddy at in Fort Dix. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? He can't expect Cassie to be in a studio no more. She don't even live in America no more. You know what I'm saying? So you got some Pete game. Don't just be lost in stuff based upon entertainment or whatever the case may be. Understand spirituality, and then if you is lost in one of these filtering systems, business, entertainment, education, religion, politics, audit, your entertainment, sport, whatever the case may be, you know how to see it from a spiritual lens. You know what I'm saying? That you like, oh, okay, this person, yeah, they might be in a better position than me, but they still retarded somewhere. And as long as I get close to God, I'm okay, whether I got what they got or don't. And now you good to go. You know what I'm saying? You good to go in life. Other than that, you in the world of expectation, wanting to fight, and you going to want to expect it, and you're going to be crashing out trying to get what's expected. Then the devil work through your people that's close to you again. What's expected from you. And a lot of people have it hard when you got a lot of individuals around you with the devil working through. And here's the thing. You can transmute it for God. You know what I'm saying? Know what expectations is, and then utilize your own unique way. So you're bringing something new to the table. And that's how you know you got God behind you or whatever the case. Or wherever you may fall short to other people's devil or your own devil expectation energy or whatever, you know how to present something new or how to have something there and just have that little time that it may appear to be negative, but it's always going to be a transition. You know, the devil have to leave. The devil got to go play around. So spring can't always be there to watch. Summer can't always be there to watch. Fall can't always got to switch as a season. Ask people ideas about whatever that you're doing. And if it's brand new and it's close to God, people will come around. And they'd be like, well, this is a brand new way to do something because what was expected ain't working as much as it was expected. Now you raising the devil's children, making them look at what God like to do. And now you're changing everybody. You're making everybody more God-like, aka everybody becomes angelic and figure out how to do things from a different angle. And you was one of those representations. And when you get that gold, that's more precious than any dollar bill. But whatever was created is always good for a dollar bill. That's more precious than any validation. But whenever you do it, it's good for all the validation, and you don't have to look at the validation like it's someone just trying to butter you up because you got something that they don't got or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's genuine. It's genuine. And that's how God like to do it or whatever the case may be. So you want to make sure you're on that path. Now, getting into the astrology, we're going to break down every sign too and stuff like that. We'll go more in depth on Patreon, but for the most part, I want to generalize it on here. And also break down what everybody may be experiencing from the highest of the high to the lowest of the low as far as your living conditions or whatever that you are involved in, due to the fact that we have just experienced the new moon in Leo. I'm pretty sure everybody is fully invested into understanding that there's a new expression or a new way of seeing things. So you may not have developed that for yourself. So you're just going to be seeing that from the outside looking in, either fighting with that like it ain't nothing different, seeing things different, or you not being able to get with a program, or you not having no representation of something. People who are being productive, actually feeling more motivated to go for something that maybe others probably even haven't seen to its full potential yet. So a person is developed and now they feel more comfortable to go for something that been on their mind but haven't been fully expressed to the full maximum degree or whatever. And then you have people who was unproductible, right? Now it's going to be a call for or a esoteric stone casting at your glass house based upon why did you build your glass house like that? Why did you want attention for that? Why is this your new expression or whatever the case may be? Why is this your new way of wanting to feel or wanting other people to feel about you or however the case to set the stage? So that's if you're unproductive, and that's going to be the reciprocation you get from the energy you've been developing of the space that we all been shifting through as this new solar eclipse, new moon in Leo that we have experienced. Now, as the moon transition into Virgo, right, this is giving us a period where now these things need a justification. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, what was it for? Was it for the business, attention, or relationships? And and we're gonna get into all signs or whatever the case may be, but that's going to be the grounding, substantiated basis on which you're going to be reacting and responding to based upon this new expression. Or if you lack that, what you see from the external world, that's going to really build as resistance for you and force you to develop it, even when you don't think you're doing it. If you're a lazy or unproductive person, or you're just not into these energies at all, you're going to be seeing things. It's going to motivate you to want to do something new or start doing what you haven't been doing based upon seeing the outside world through a filter, through a person, place, or thing, bug, or animal, give you that sense, because we're in that energy. No matter, you live here with us, you're breathing the same air. So for the most part, just don't be in that space too long. You just become an intelligent hater, or always a person that want to find something to disagree with or don't like. But when it comes into this energy itself, right, there's going to be what you did it for: business, attention, or relationships. And that's going to be how you conducted your family, how you conduct your whatever you was interested in, your goals, your networks, or whatever. There's something that have happened, whether it's a extreme negative situation, something positive, or something mundane. But the ground basis of the scenario is going to be, what did you do it for? What was it for? Was it for business? Was it for attention? Or was it for relationships? Because as the moon starts to transition into Libra, that's going to be the situation that you have to deal with. Justification from your relationships, and did something hurt or help your relationships? And that's going to be the outcome to let you know during this new, because the new moon energy and the full moon energy, they play out even when the moon switch signs. You know what I'm saying? So the moon, for that energy and that remnants to fully clear up and stop being filtered through the other signs, it'd be the same energy that's filtered through the next two signs. You got to wait till like a week. So 3 signs ahead, 3 moons ahead. You know what I'm saying? 3 moons. That's why we always used to say, wait 2 to 3 moons ahead before we make another decision. And whatever we're doing before it's 2 moons is how we're developing our pack. So we'll bring a rock here, where, you know, so that's just bad old tribal energies. But for the most part, that's when it fully just be in the energy out of the reminiscences of an extreme event, like the new moon or the full moon. And we get back to just fully being in the minor events, and it playing out the way how it play out, because the moon moves fast as a shift. It moves a degree every 2 hours. So once every 2 or 2.5 days, or whatever the case may be, we get a different moon sign. So you get a different mood or a different reaction to how you're reacting to the external world. And if you don't know how to conduct these things right, it can be times the stars don't align. The moon, the star, the moon, that Saturn, that the reflector of the atmosphere, don't align with the time you was born with your sun, moon, or your space, your position you was in as the ascendant. And for the most part, it'll throw you off as a misunderstanding, or you may express yourself in unwarranted ways, or have feelings and vibes you don't necessarily have. So if you don't know how to control these things, it may make you do things that eventually in the future you may have to apologize for a certain degree. So, you know, it's just these type of energies to understand. Everything ain't rooted on astrology, but it just give you a kind of grounding or a framework of what energies you're going to be dealing with. And knowing your own energies is how you kind of compartmentalize with it. So you're dealing with being in relatable and being in sync, and know when the stars don't align, how to make things more relatable for you. And when the stars do align, how to not overboast that energy, and then you're utilizing it for ego in areas that can hurt you in the future when it comes to outcomes and spaces you want to be in without having a bad face card. So for the most part, this will be a time, particularly right now with the moon being in Libra. With the moon get ready to go into Libra, and we had that shift. It was only 2 moons, so we're still in that new moon in Leo energy. Anything you have expressed will be analyzed. Once it's being analyzed, it's getting in mama's womb right now, in Virgo mama womb right now. So all of us are reacting and responding to analyzing what was just expressed when it comes to a new way of seeing and feeling about something that a person want to fixate themselves in, or want to appear as, or want to be seen as that new moon or solar eclipse in Leo. And remind you, solar eclipse is different than just the minor new moon and things of that nature. Lunar eclipse is different than just the regular full moon, or however the case may be. So when we talk about a total blackout, right, the moon is just a reflection itself based upon an emanation from the light on the east, and it's the reflection of the atmosphere. So when we have our rotating to the left, and we're facing the east based upon your geographical location, right, that reflection or our emotion from the light, our light condense and become cloud, our emotion, right, it's blocking, but necessarily not blocking. Is just the area that emanate the light is too much light, so it appear to be dark. Too much light and you're close to it could blind you. So life kind of confuse y'all based upon y'all trying to understand intelligently through y'all senses things that go beyond your senses, that actually developed your senses in the first place. So understanding that you're reacting to something give you more intelligence as a starting point than deciphering it and then secondhand trying to analyze it from your senses. First, you have to understand that These are part of how your sense is being created in the first place. So there's a stimuli you're doing first before you develop the intelligence around it. And if you understand that stimuli, then you can build the intelligence around the stimuli. Now you're more connected to what's actually going on, and you won't have to come up with things like Star Wars concepts of the sun coming far from the east and water landing on Earth from another galaxy or something like that. But there's more water on Earth than the Earth material itself, which is Fermatera. You see what I'm saying? So it just gives you better starting points of understanding what's in front of you that no one actually told you you didn't know. You're just not observing. You may have got too distracted into needing a pair of Jordans before you go to practice the next day or whatever the case may be. But during right now, this will be a time where situations have to be actually justified. You have to actually justify what you have gotten yourself into positively or negatively. So as the new moon, right? It's a blocking out of the moon too. So it's a void. So you have the feelings, but you have to create a new feeling. But then it's blocking out the light too. What was already expressed that was developed from a feeling, right? What was already seen. So for the most part, a new expression have to be developed from a new way of feeling. And if you didn't take that course by you not being in tune, you're going to be expressing an old and outdated, maybe narrative, concept about yourself, viewpoint of how you see the external world via people, places, and things, or whatever the case may be. And then you're reacting to those same energies. Wow, no one sees it that way. That's actually in tune. And there's always going to be higher percentage scale of people that's in tune, that's not invested as much into the meaning behind why you need a pair of Jordans. You see what I'm saying? That get you more into the distracted world or whatever. So this is how concepts exist, where someone from the hood could put you onto some better shoes than Jordans that may be cheaper, maybe put you on some travel fox or whatever. But based upon the influence, it gives you more of an importance that may outright Jordan or whatever the case may be. So it's let you know how to keep yourself open during this time so you don't get blocked based upon what's being seen. But at the same time, this will be a situation where things got to be justified of how you just built this new expression of how you see yourself. Virgo is making everybody analyze it. So if you was unproductive, you're going to be in some type of having to either cope, overcompensate, or really come up with something that makes sense to why you got this new expression or whatever, or why you seeing things. Because a lot of times you can have a job and you start expressing yourself a certain way based upon you being tired of something that's going on at that job. And if you're unproductive, you didn't develop a new way to see and feel about it. So now you're in an old and outdated energy, and it might not be seen the same way of how you was frustrated previously, even coming from yourself. So you may express yourself more disgruntled, and you may create a more disgruntled circumstance, and then you set the stage to be able to possibly lose your job. So it can play out like that if you're unproductive, to make things simple for people, so we don't think it's too spooky or whatever the case may be. So, but like I said, this new expression of yours, of this new stage of events that you have set up for yourself, now needs justification or grounding. Grounding, Virgo energy, justification energy. That's Virgo. It needs grounding to it, because this is a analyzing period due to the fact of the moon being in Virgo. So you better make sure you make sense. And if you have been productive, you shouldn't really have a problem getting your point across, clear, sounded, and without too much sauce or stain on it for future outcomes. Because you know what I'm saying, this is a everyday cycle. The moon gonna be in Leo again. It may not be a full moon, a full or a new one, and in any other cycle or whatever the case may be. So it's about keeping track of each situation, so you're always on the better side of things, even when you are going through negative situations. You always can sit back and look from a distance. It could be worse. God always put another person, place, or thing that look a little indifferent or newer than with the situation you're going through, to be able to compare and contrast if your situation could be worse or not. And if you don't take that pass, you'll be thinking you still going through something worse, and you'll be even worse than what God was trying to put in front of you, that you was so distracted with those negative filtering glasses on you couldn't see. So I'm saying and you could have smiled and you couldn't, and to develop more of those energies. So you have to be real sensitive to the senses that we be experiencing going through life. Now, if you're unproductive though, you're going to be a little scattered. You're going to be a little scattered because you're going to be unprepared. You're going to be unprepared for what you have to defend, due to the fact of what you're defending was ungrounded in the first place. Like if you was unproductive during this new moon in Leo, you did what we all had to do. But it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. So how you did it based upon your distractions, you still did it anyway. But for the most part, you probably developed something that probably suited maybe a goal that was on a high percentage scale of a bias that we're going through a shift at the moment, that bias may not necessarily be a subjectory during this particular time. So you might be in a position, if you're unproductible, of looking at how you express yourself as a mistake, because what it may have got you as an outcome don't necessarily look like a trajectory at the moment. It look like it's actually going in the opposite direction. So you have to be careful if you're not into these things, because a lot of people may have to deal with a lot of mistakes right now. Like the sooner the better, you could kind of clean up things, but at the same time, what's done is done. It's almost like a digital footprint where no matter the shift and no matter how many things is changing, how something may look good now, there's still a digital footprint of other actions that may have been taken or whatever the case may be. So it's going to be very clear on the motive on whatever actions that you may have expressed around your family, friends, associates, or like I said, digital footprint. You can even be a content creator or whatever the case may be. So these things could bite you in the butt right now where it matters most, because we experienced the new moon in Leo. So that also represents new opportunities in the world, because you ain't the only person. So it's like an each one teach one. No matter what we're all doing, we're all connected. So when another person is awakening and stuff like that, people is in mad positions. There's people in good positions that these openings also happen as new job opportunities. You know what I'm saying? New business, corporation opportunities, white collar, blue collar, things of that nature. So it goes beyond just your personal circumstances of what you think you'd evolving yourself in within your biases and stuff like that. You could be doing something right now, and 2 years from now, it based upon these extreme energies or whatever the case may be, you may switch your whole field of expertise or what you're interested in and want a job somewhere where you have to fill out an application, but based upon where you crashed out on your other job and your resume, or maybe what you have done in the world, especially being a content creator online or whatever the case may be, it may block that opportunity for you. So these things be important based upon those type of scenarios. So you always make sure you have a good face card, especially if you're a content creator, because depending on how you express yourself also, you know what I'm saying, everybody online, but it ain't what you do, it's how you do it. And how you do it, you might want to switch fields and get offline, but it also won't block you from any opportunity. And even if people figure out you was online, they'll be able to come across, and it won't be no actual issue to make people look at you in a weird way or feel like that their job is a bad representation by just having you there or whatever the case may be. You look like a common, organized, running, minded citizen or whatever the case may be. So it's not a problem. So for the most part, when you don't think like that, you're not thinking about your future either or whatever the case. You see what I'm saying? Because things can switch up real fast. And you'll be esoterically putting all your eggs in a basket that may not even be there next week, next month, next year. Because that's how fast these shifts be going in today's time. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the industries. Look at the music industry right now. Look at all these shifts. It's going so fast. You think something hot last week, it ain't hot no more. Even when it comes into business models and methods and stuff like that, those are switching just like the product. So we really got to get on our spiritual game in all little entities right now, or we're going to be lost in the sauce, and there's going to be nothing creative for us to develop to piggyback off or stand on anymore, even as a landmass. You see what I'm saying? Real stuff. So peep game, we'll get into Aries through Pisces to help everybody understand. So what you may be experiencing as the moon going to Libra, but everybody have to be careful, because depending on what you did with the moon was in Leo, it's being extremely analyzed. And here's the thing, analyzing with Virgo energy comes into worrying in areas that the common individual may not be worrying about. So for the most part, there may have not been things you thought people may be seeing things in a certain way or feel a certain way or thinking a certain way and things of that nature. So you might have been fully into investing yourself into this expression, how you want to show up at this job or family, friend, and associate or coworker. Now you're going to start feeling that energy where there may be certain decision-making qualities you had that lack certain perceptions or angles or ways of people seeing things that Virgo's getting ready to show you now. And you may even look at it like, oh, damn, I ain't know. Like almost like having a hole in your sock before you go to school and you ain't realize it until you got to school and start getting roasted or whatever. It's going to be like that kind of energy. Like, damn, I ain't thinking about that. Damn, why ain't I peep that out? And then it's going to be too late. You already expressed it. And that's if you was unproductive or whatever the case may be. Everybody ain't in a position of being all distracted into the energies or whatever. So everybody distracted to a certain degree, but you're going to be in a position of people looking at you a little crazy like that due to the fact of them not being invested as you in a distraction or whatever. And that distraction led into you expressing yourself. And then you utilize this new moon and Leo energy to start expressing and think that it's going to get you there. And then when it's Virgo energy, people who didn't go to limits as you're going to start to feel that weird energy, even if they ain't say nothing. It's just the moon and Virgo. It's making us analyze. You're going to start checking yourself and be like, damn, this person could possibly think that. And by me doing something that they didn't do, that might be on their mind at the moment because that's why they didn't do it. Oh man. So I'm saying, so you don't want to be in that kind of energy because now you're gonna be worried about things that you might start to try to overcompensate, then it filter out through your expressions, and you might slip up and express something that a person wasn't even paying attention to in the first place. Now you exposing what you try to overcompensate. Now you exposing your motives where you didn't have to expose it or whatever. And see, it get tricky when you work for the devil. That's why I said don't stop working for the devil. Stop working for the devil and stuff like that. They be coming through Michael Jordan shoes as they work through people, places, and things. And what you willing to do for it? And then it'd be intelligent because it'd be like, okay, if you do this point A, all we need like an intelligent mathematical kind of concept way of going about it. Okay, if you do this A, B, and C, it does this elbow trick mathematic, and then everybody react with a cheer. But you got to make sure you do this A, B, C. You know what I'm saying? Do that first, and then like it dry up every time you try to do the same joke over. It dry up, and then you be doing A, B, and C even more perfect. Less reciprocation, less value back, less fruit back. You know what I'm saying? Less energy back. And then that's when you really be like, man, what's going on? This ain't worth it. This ain't what I want to do in the first place. And that's when the devil pop back up like, what, you ain't want to do what in the first place? Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff you got to do the same thing you tired of doing to even maintain a little bit you do, guys. It's like, man, you stop fucking with the devil. You know what I'm saying? Get a little closer to God, even if you're in a position that God gave you something that you can help others. Help, don't expect. Because a lot of y'all got family, friends, and close ones right now that God showed you way early ahead of time. You went through a lot of experience to know not to expect nothing back. You know what I'm saying? Even at the times you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? And how you going to deal with it? Was you going to crash out about it, or you going to let it go and don't put yourself in that position again? And that'd be a hard fight for a lot of humans. You know what I'm saying? You dealing with God, though. You dealing with God at that time. You know what I'm saying? Now, so like I said, when the moon get ready to go into Libra and the sun is in Leo, right? There's going to be relationships or communications you have to give a little attention to. So you may find yourself even being motivated right now because you're analyzing certain things that once it start to go that distance, you got to initiate or you got to lead in that area because the moon get ready to go into a cardinal sign, Libra. And the form of leading you may have to do is a form of communicating because the situation may go in an area where it's unfair, unbalanced, or you may be getting the short end of the stick. And what do that mean? Short end of the stick mean you may get a bad rep based upon what you are connected to, based upon you not communicating or having certain actions to make it more fair and balanced. So you may have people speaking for you where you could speak for yourself. So you hope they don't. You may have people representing you, but you didn't get control into what's ever being connected. So when they go out and about and represent you, it's properly. You know what I'm saying? It could be a lot of these different things. And y'all know y'all Libras, y'all care about that. Libra siblings, business partners, parents, and stuff like that. Y'all care about represent. Leos do too, but especially Libras. They care about representation of what's being seen. Libras is care about what's being seen. Leos is care about what's being seen, but Libras care about what's being seen, but what's being represented. And they think about how they want something to be represented. So that's where they lead at, initiate at, or whatever the case may be. So we're going to be in that situation where you may have to jump up and do that. And it may be something where something not representing you in a way that you can see a little bit more proper. And it may even lead to certain small forms of arguments during this time when the moon starts to transition through Libra, because once it's in Virgo, we're analyzing, but we're also analyzing a bunch of faults, a bunch of stuff we don't like, and a bunch of stuff we need to probably calculate for ourselves. And once the moon goes into Libra, now it's going to force us to initiate those actions to be able to communicate those things or share those thoughts. And if you're around a whole bunch of unproductive people or you haven't been taking care of your responsibilities, these are going to be the main things that's going to feel like one getting the short end of the stick, someone is not doing something that's in fairness, or there's an unbalance, and there may be a communication or argument that may have to happen for things to become balanced. You know what I'm saying? You may have to cut your partner out so they can go ahead and start taking up their half of the bill about something, or a situation where a person is not looking at it from a fair situation, and they're looking at it too much from a selfish perspective. So it's creating the involvement of everybody to be unstable when it comes to participants in the situation at hand. So it's going to be a lot of those things we all have to deal with. And Libras specifically going to be the example of what we should do and what we shouldn't do, or how to go about these things. But like I said, for all parties, we're all going to be trying to initiate or lead or find some more fairness and balance into what's being expressed from ourselves and others, and where we set the stage at for all participants. So you might have set the stage for your creativity be seen, or someone else. You might have set the stage for it's time for you to get a job. You may have set the stage for you want to become a content creator. You may have set the stage for I might want to express myself to go into a relationship now. You might, you might express yourself as it's time for me to switch up and get out of this relationship. But everybody gonna be in that new Leo energy, new moon and Leo energy, and analyzing how to conduct that right now as the moon is in Virgo with the remnants of the new moon in Leo. Now, as the moon being this last shift of that new moon in Leo, as it go into Libra, is going to filter out through us initiating and trying to lead or take that charge when it comes to our relationships. And if you're unproductive or a person who haven't been participating, you're going to feel that energy from people that you are relating to adjust how you relate or your relationships in general. Remind you, when I say relationships, I'm not just talking about partner, boy, girl, and things of that nature. I'm talking about your networks, your siblingships, the relationships you have with people, business wise, and all the way down to your partners and stuff like that. But for the most part, look at it from a broad perspective, because a lot of people is just lost in relationships right now, not knowing how you relate within your relationships in your job or out and about. Even if you're going to work out and things of that nature, these things taking place. You know what I'm saying? If you're not considering these things, it could be a situation play out where there's an argument. Let's say you work out and you go to Planet Fitness, and then there's an argument at that Planet Fitness that make you not even want to go to that location anymore. So now you got to waste a little bit more gas because of that situation that was unfair or unbalanced, or someone was getting the short end of the stick because one or the other wasn't checking themselves. So this minor stuff like that play out in everybody's life, you know what I'm saying, that if you ain't sensitive to the senses, you won't be privy to that. And then when situations take course, you just think it's something happening, but you get ready to experience the same type of circumstance next week, next month. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still going to McDonald's. So just because you ain't experienced the line being slow or your order being messed up this week, guarantee you constantly keep going to McDonald's, you will experience that next month or next year or something like that. It's coming. It's coming. You stay in hell. It's coming. Oh, for that. You could expect it. You could expect one of these come sooner than later. They always gonna pop up, but you stay close to the devil, you good. You could expect you're gonna get what you signed for. Just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to McDonald's. Now look, check this out. Now look, when we get into the signs themselves. Now Aries. Pardon me, y'all. Aries. Now during this time, as the moon starts to transition into Libra, you may feel a little uncomfortable with expressing yourself or certain feelings when it comes to your relationships. So your networks, all your relationships and stuff like that, you're going to feel that uncomfortable energy due to the fact of the moon going into your opposite sign. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in vice versa for all opposite signs. If you are a lower octave and unproductive Aries throughout your life, you're going to find yourself yearning for relationships or love, or hate yourself that you don't have that in some way, shape, or form. It's in vice versa for Libras. Libras already that, so they do it in opposite. If they are unproductive or lower octave, then they end up being in a situation where they have to learn how to be to themselves, or learn how to be more individual, stop getting taken advantage of, or doing everything that they thought they was doing for fairness and balance. Is the very same people, places, and things that's putting them off course of being in fairness and balance and things of that nature. So, you know, Libras, if they lower octave, they end up yearning or having to learn how to be to themselves a lot more around their place, around them people, their people. And Aries, if they're lower octave, too much with their natural energies of knowing how to be to themselves or have their own idea, individuality amongst their people. If they're too lower octave, then they end up yearning or being forced to learn how to deal with relationships, or need the assistance of others in areas that you don't think you need it in and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. But for Aries, this is May. You may feel a little uncomfortable with expressing yourself or with certain feelings when it comes into your relationships and how you relate to others during this particular time, because the trine energy creates a gift. So it's going to be a situation that play out in things that you involve, or things that you like to do, or things you could see could be better, but you may feel an opposite in how to go about it in thought or communicating. You know what I'm saying? And creating that balance. It may make you feel uncomfortable or whatever, because that ain't what you normally do. So just keep that in mind, and just try to find how to carve out something to be a little bit more relatable, even if it's a little stressful situation. Now, when it comes to Taurus, right, you may as the moon started to transition into Libra, you may misunderstand why you are frustrated with the way some of your relationships express themselves. You see what I'm saying? That misunderstanding is going to come from your in conjunction, Libra. But y'all still share the sun pocket, same distance, different location energy, right? Venus. So for the most part, it may deal with something that you love, appreciate, value, something you relate to, or something dealing with your comfort zone, or something that make you lazy, or something that make you overvalue something, or whatever the case may be, and go too far. Because Venus represent love, appreciation, value, relatability, and compromising. So these energies may be tested at this time. Your compromising energy may be tested. The thing that you love, what you love to do, that might get tested. The things you value, that might get tested during this particular time. Once the moon starts to transition, you may feel like things in your favor because the moon is in Virgo, but it's being analyzed. And if you're unproductive or whatever, even if you're productive a little bit, everybody go through testings and battles or whatever. You're going through one based upon an in conjunction, just like Aries, but this is your form of it. So as the Taurus, you may misunderstand why you are frustrated because there may be certain situations that happen or things you weren't paying attention to before that you just now starting to pay attention to because you're seeing your comfort zone getting tested. Things you love, appreciate, or value getting tested in pockets that you wasn't paying attention to even know that it could get tested in that way, internally and externally. And you may see it based upon being a little frustrated on why it's being expressed the way it's being expressed because the sun is in Leo, your square sign. So what's being seen as what's being felt is indifferent to the things that make you feel comfortable. And you may not be expressive in that type of way or whatever the case may be. So you just may be a little frustrated on some of your relationships and why they express themselves the way that they're doing because whatever they're expressing themselves as, just naturally it's kind of testing your comfort zone, testing the things you love to do, your values or whatever. So keep that in mind, Taurus, as the moon transition into Libra. Now, Gemini, you're going to have a little bit more benefits than other individuals because it's a trine and a sextile energy. Trine, y'all, you share the same element. So you're going to be in the same world that the moon is in as far as Libras, Aquarius, and Geminis. And it's going to be filtered out through, and it's how it's going to appear to be, your sextile sign, 60-degree angle, Leo. So you may see opportunities that work in favor to things that you're already interested in. That's how that play out. Stars aligning for air signs during this particular, maybe not so much the Aquarius, but if they make certain adjustments and learn how to get comfortable with certain new uncomfortable things they may have to deal with, this new unfamiliarity that may be thrown at them, learn how to adjust a familiarity to it so their natural Aquarius reaction don't play out as an opposite or fighting fire with fire, then the Aquarius should be cool. But the Aquarius got a little bit more challenges than the Libra and the Gemini during this particular time due to the fact that the moon is getting ready to go into Libra and they're the example. And it's a trine. Leo is a sextile to Libra and Gemini, but it's an opposite to Aquarius. So you got a roll. You got like a roll block. Aquarius has got a roll. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Y'all low key got a roll blockage to meet something that you already interested in, a direction that you already going. You got a roll blockage. But for the most part, Geminis, you may have a better way of initiating and leading on how something's supposed to be done or how it should look if you're productive. Now, if you're unproductive, you're going to be the example of we shouldn't say things that way. We shouldn't express it that way or whatever. It's a crash out. But if you've been productive doing whatever that you do and put more percentage scale potency of energy into that, other than the little petty stuff that we always deal with, that we know we come across others that put more energy and percentage scale into that potency of energy, and we see where it leads, and we probably had previous mistakes where we did that, all that spiritual work that we got to do on ourselves. But for the most part, you Geminis, if y'all productive, right, you may have a better way of initiating and leading because that being mutable and being able to adapt to your own and other people's ways of thinking and being communicated, right? If you're productive, Libra energy shares the same quality, but it allows you to now to initiate and not be scattered, be sure, not be indecisive. Actually take charge where you wasn't taking charge. You see what I'm saying? And then for the most part, if you're productive, you're going to be able to be seen as a representative of how something's supposed to be expressed and whatever your expertise is. So make sure y'all take those opportunities right now. It could be big money into that or just having a good face card for future purposes, especially when it comes to money and stuff like that, because the moon currently is in Virgo. So everything is a building quality. Cancers. Now, Cancers, you're going to be in a situation where you may be a little frustrated. You may be a little frustrated with your own way or others' ways of dealing with or expressions when it comes into the relationships or whatever. So your way of relating or your relationships themselves when it comes into what you like being in and what makes you feel comfortable and how you like things to be felt, you may feel a little waters being ruffled, for lack of better terms, even though you're a water sign or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So you may so you may have to find yourself switching up on how you feel, how you react to things that you was already comfortable with, because moon going into Libra is your square sign. So you may find yourself having to communicate about certain feelings that you think should already be known. Person should have already been a mind reader, or this was already the situation. It was already what make things comfortable or whatever. There may be certain little things that people may do, or certain little things that you have to do that force you to communicate out of your comfort zone to make things back comfortable. And if you're unproductive, those could be extreme arguments. If you're productive, those is going to be minor things to make sure things get back to being comfortable, or things get back to regular, or things get back to normal. You know, so you may find yourself having to have a little bit more communicating than you usually are comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where you want to steer that in as the Cancer, or whatever the case may be. You know, because you might have people that even like smothering your privacy at this time, or smothering your creative space, or not emanating as much effort as whatever that you're doing, but they're around you. That's going to make you feel uncomfortable, because if you're one of those productive Cancers and stuff, and you involved in stuff, you got motion or whatever, you know how uncomfortable, especially when it's someone who close to you, so they've been around you enough to, they don't got to be a mind reader to know what's on your mind and know how to read the moon. I'll read the room, how you Cancers control, or whatever the case may be. They supposed to already know, and they still act like they don't know. All the things you're putting in or whatever, and they're not putting in the same effort, that make you highly uncomfortable. Then you jump into your opposite sign energy. Have to steer away from emotions and get a little bit more serious. Have to really start showing these individuals, it can't be personal more. You got to be all business. I'm doing this because of business. Yeah, I love you, but better from a distance. And that's when Cancers have to get into their opposite sign, and Capricorn got a vice versa opposite of that too. But same way how I broke down Libra and Aries. But for the most part, that's when Cancers get in that space. But for the most part, this is what you're going to be frustrated with during this particular time. You may have to actually communicate that where in areas you ain't think you have to communicate that. And that's going to slightly make you uncomfortable if you're around unproductive family, friends, associates, and coworkers at this time, being a Cancer. Now, Leos, you may have, because we just experienced that new moon too, so you ain't getting away with nothing yet. You still in the audience, you just back in the audience, but people may be looking at you like, why you ain't back on stage? So if you was a crash out or whatever the case may be, just because you're in the audience don't mean people ain't still talking about what you crashed out on stage. So make sure you keep that in mind too, and try to clean up whatever you put out as a negative stain that can be on your face card. But Leos, you may have opportunities because the moon is getting ready to go into Libra, and the sun is still in Leo. So you got a lot of favors. You could also look like an opportunity to other individuals. So Leos, don't set yourself up to be goofy internally. You could set yourself up to be taken advantage of by a family, friend, or associate or coworker because of your position that you are in, or how something is seen and should be expressed. So there's potential there that you may not have tapped into or expressed yet that another person can see from a distance or whatever. And this family, friend, associate, and coworker will take that juice from you in some way and become an opportunist. So if you're not watching yourself, Leos, you could be attracting a lot of opportunists at this time too, due to the fact what you're involved in or whatever that you got going on. Now, when it comes into this in general, you may have opportunities to appear more relatable, fair, or balanced if not doing too much. If you're not doing too much, you see what I'm saying? If you ain't doing too much, you already got the energy in your favor. But it can appear to be a little bit more cooled off than how it previously probably appeared to be extreme, or however the case may be. And for the most part, your energy you already place for yourself, aka how you appear to be, you're gonna just appear to be more relatable for no reason, even if you ain't doing nothing different. You know what I'm saying? Because the energy's in your favor, and Libra make things more light, aka Libra make a person even try to think about something in a more relatable way, even if they're in a disagreeable space about it. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind too. Now, when it comes into Virgos, y'all may be unsure on why your relationships are expressing themselves the way that they are. Yet it might not even bother you. So you're going to be in a situation where you can see people expressing themselves in situations that may look at it like you will worry a little bit if you was expressing yourself in that manner or whatever, but it's more in a lighter way because you're around your fatal attraction signs. So Leo don't necessarily bother you, and Libra don't necessarily bother you unless it's an extreme situation or an event or whatever the case may be that it calls for your attention and it made you worry or it made you frustrated or whatever the case. But other than that, with both of these energies, you have to choose to participate or it has to be in an extreme situation like that. Other than that, you may just be able to sit back from a distance, and it may even be a little form of entertainment, observing your friends, family, and associates and coworkers mishaps from a distance, at the same time it not bothering you negatively. So you may even be in a more jokey time too at this time, but it ain't really gonna bother you, but you're able to see people's mishaps, or you're able to see people expressing themselves, and you may even sit back and be unsure why people expressing themselves that way. It might just put you in thinking time or whatever. Or if you unproductive, you may have people looking at you like this. So you got to be careful of that too. If you are a Virgo, you got to be careful. You may have people looking at you like, why are you expressing yourself the way you don't have to do that, because it might look like you're trying to emanate what you think people want to see. And you can slide into copying or whatever because you think that's what's necessary and for you to make that dollar. So don't get too much into that energy. Also, Virgo, you could end up being a people pleaser in areas you don't know you being if you unproductive, due to the fact of that attention energy Leo gives and make other people feel like everybody should do that energy because that's the only way to get an outcome of something, or or favorable energy. Now, Libras, right? You will be the example of what to do or not to do when it comes into communication styles and how it should be expressed. Communication styles, how it should be expressed, and situations will play out for you to be the representation of that energy. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be like, situations going to play out where you're going to have to be the representation on how something should be represented, how something should be communicated, so it don't go too extreme into an area that's unproductive or whatever the case. Now, if you are already the unproductive Libra, you might be the individual that's egging these situations on. And what goes around comes around. You will get someone egging a situation on that won't go in your favor a few weeks from now. So don't participate too much in that energy just because it seemed like you got the best idea to make something go negatively just because you could get a good kick out of it or a good laugh. So be careful of that too, and use your relationships to get the upper hand on someone or something like that. Y'all Libras will do something like that and create negative scenarios. Now, when it comes into Scorpio, right? Scorpio. Now, you may be unsure on how to take or properly react to what's being expressed from others or even yourself if you've been tripping or unproductive. But ultimately, you're going to find yourself frustrated with how you see people communicating certain things or certain communications or what you learn or certain information that you get. You may find yourself being frustrated with that. You may find yourself like, why is that information being relayed in that manner? And you're going to turn into an investigator or whatever, because Libra is just on the other side of you. So if something forces you to focus on Libra energy, you're going to go deep into that communication or that unfairness or where it should be fair. And you're going to be finding pockets of holes where other people don't find it at. Now, here's the thing. You could get yourself in trouble at this time too. So if you involve yourself in things you ain't supposed to be involving yourself in, and you got that investigator Scorpio energy, you may end up expressing or saying something that wasn't supposed to be said or whatever the case may be. And then you end up being the reason why someone get a divorce or why something didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Or why everybody get caught. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful, or why you got yourself in trouble, or why you made a friend an enemy now, or why you didn't got yourself in something sticky. You know what I'm saying? So be careful of that during this particular time, being a Scorpio, right? You may be unsure on how to take or properly react to what's being expressed from others or even yourself if you've been tripping or unproductive, but ultimately, right, you may find yourself frustrated with what you see being communicated or expressed. Now, Sagittarius, you may have the opportunity, because look, you got sextile and trine energy. The sun is in your trine, 120-degree angle, so they share the same energy. Will only separate you from the Leo, will separate you from the Aries because they're dealing with their opposite or whatever, like Libra. But Libra is your sextile, so it's an opportunity energy. So you may find opportunities to bring something new to the table that wasn't brought or wasn't appearing to be that way previously. So you have opportunity to be seen in a better light, you know what I'm saying? Because Libra is going to give that opportunity to make something be analyzed. And if you have been seen extreme, people are going to be able to analyze the meaning and reasoning behind that extremeness and not see it as extreme or whatever. So you're going to be seen as more presentable during this particular time. So Sagittarius, you may have the opportunity to make the way you express yourself or communication style look more presentable than usual, with the Libra given the opportunity to envision a more intelligent or relatable angle via subject matter you're attacking. And then the Leo energy is going to give that gift. That trine is going to give that gift to put that mutable energy, being mutable, being able to adapt to your own and other people's ways of seeing and feeling about things, to be anchored in a fixated area. So, because that mutable energy, that all the abilities that all the mutable signs got, they're able to take from here, 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 and make something individual that suits all parties. And some may do it in crash out ways that crash out everybody. And if you're productive, you do it in productive ways. So you become the most creative in whatever that you're into, as far as Sagittarius, Pisces, Virgos, and Geminis. But for the most part, when it comes into you Sagittarius, you got that ability right now when it comes into whatever expertise or creative endeavors or productivity that you're doing or whatever the case may be. Leo is going to fixate that mutable fire, mutable being able to see other people's ways of seeing and feeling about things and be able to anchor that into whatever's getting the most attention when it attracts people's ways of seeing and feeling about something or whatever the case may be. So you could be a leader in these areas that people are giving attention to due to the fact of this new angle that you're able to be the representation of, that Libra helps calm the fire down a little bit and give it a more intellect, or give it a more favorable, or give it a more appreciable, like, or more of a value, more of a Venus energy. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, you're not able to be seen as harsh, and you can take that opportunity to capitalize on that also. You know what I'm saying? So any prejudging works in your favor as Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? Especially for y'all goddamn horse. You know what I'm saying? Y'all horse. You know? God giving y'all a leeway right now. God giving y'all goddamn Sag whores. Like God giving y'all a little door gate right now to make it seem like you might not be a whore as much. You know what I'm saying? Better take it. Now, for the most part, Capricorns, right? Now, you may be a little frustrated with your relationships, networks, or way you have to relate to what's being seen or expressed, that ultimately may be misunderstandings, because what's being seen and expressed is your in conjunction sign, Leo, right? But your square sign is Libra. So for the most part, you may be frustrated with how you may have, because it's the moon, so what you may have to relate or start to communicate as. And it may be a lot of things that you don't really normally relate to. Maybe a lot of communication styles you normally don't care to talk about, or care to have to talk about, or whatever. But it may start to threaten your position about something, or your business about something, or how you are seen, or your status. So this would cause us a little frustration, or whatever the case may be. You may even have people speaking for you and you won't speaking for you, or whatever. And here's the thing: the misunderstanding is going to come from what's being expressed and how it's being seen. So don't go too far, because this square, aka Moon and Libra, that's getting ready to happen, and this in conjunction Sun and Leo energy could lead you into doing something hasty before you gain a true understanding. And this crash out energy, or what you think you're frustrated with, can purely be on the basis of just being a misunderstanding. So kind of be don't be so reactionary, because there's a gem in these energies before you react, and it's going to show you that you're getting ready to react to a misunderstanding. It's not that serious. Aquarius. Now, Aquarius, you may have the gift of thinking. You may have the gift of thinking about things that make you feel uncomfortable in a new way. You know what I'm saying? So things that you normally would be like, I don't care about that, or whatever the case may be, or whatever. You got this ability of thinking about it in a new way. You know what I'm saying? Things that you ain't really care to think about, people, places, and things. It's going to be filtered into that, right? So you could kind of broaden your subjectory, so you're not in future-wise creating a bad face card in areas that you don't know you're doing, that could possibly block money or positive relationships or ways of how you look, because your opposite sign is Leo. You know what I'm saying? So you're constantly in energy kind of like Leo, having to regenerate or fight for how you're seen and how something look. And, every now and then the Aquarius may reach to that point where they're tired of doing that, so they end up not caring how they look or appear to be. And then that's when they get into that, rebellious in areas that they probably shouldn't be rebellious, that type of Aquarius. But for the most part, here's the thing, right? Y'all may have the gift, because it's a trine, Moon and Libra, So it's the world. Y'all sharing the same world, but that gift a lot of times may not be leading to things that you feel comfortable doing, due to the fact of there's something that you're already interested in. Moon going into Libra, you being an Aquarius, sharing an air element, but the sun, how it appear to be, is in opposite to you in Leo. So it doesn't necessarily have to deal with Leos, but that's how your experiences may play out right now. Something that you involved in got opposition in it. You know what I'm saying? Something you like to do, kind of like the Taurus, but you may experience opposition in it or road blockage in it. So it's something you're familiar with, something you got the idea about, something you already have put your comfort zone or your feet in, but now you may deal with road blockages. Now you may deal with an opposite light. Now you may deal with resistance in some way, shape, or form that may ruffle the feathers of your comfort zone and force you to think out of that fixated air energy, being fixated on your own way of thinking and communicating. Now you're forced to have to get into Gemini and Libra energy. And Libra is going to teach you how to do that a little bit. But it may frustrate you due to the fact of it's teaching you that through an opposite filtering system, Leo. So now you may have to carve out that fixated energy and initiate newer thoughts about some energy that make you feel uncomfortable, something that may be opposite, or something that may make you feel like you're opposite to what's getting attention to. You know what I'm saying? Or what's more of a thing that people are seeing or feeling about something right now, what's gaining more of a attraction or whatever. So you may be like placed in an opposite position from that. You may be kicked out the whip from that, but forced to come up with a new thought to find some fairness and balance in that. And that's where Libra is going to help you. It's just Libra got you in the same world that you doing something. You just got things in your world bothering you. That's how it's going to play out for you Aquariuses in some way, shape, or form. And this could be purely mentally. There's comfort zones you had that had you motivated to do the things that you normally like to do. And now you're forced to have these other type of thoughts that you didn't even know that you had, that you could appear a certain way when you was doing these things that you wasn't thinking about, that those thoughts probably still was there, but there wasn't bothering you. It wasn't out in the open, wasn't seen, wasn't felt. See what I'm saying? Now it's seen and felt, and now you're left to deal with it. How you go about it is going to be based upon if you're a productive or unproductive Aquarius, but you can't sweep it up under the rug. And I told y'all that previously too. Aquariuses, y'all can't sweep nothing up under the rug this whole month. Y'all can't just ghost things now. Like, y'all just got to come up with a whole new way of dealing with this new shift. But you're going to be a better person. Now, Pisces. Now, you may have, because this is a double misunderstanding. Leo is your in conjunction and Libra is your in conjunction. So for the most part, here's the thing. You may have misunderstandings why you feel certain ways when it comes into what you or others may have expressed, but just don't get into over-exaggerating, right? Don't get into over-exaggerating, because it's just that. If you ain't sensitive, pardon me, if you ain't sensitive to the senses, you won't realize that you just got two inconjunctions going on. So the stars ain't really aligning for you to feel comfortable with going about something, or for you to fully feel comfortable about how someone you're close to, or how you're seeing things externally being expressed from other people, places, and things, or whatever the case may be. So don't over-exaggerate, because that over-exaggerating is going to have you overreacting. Then once you start to act on those overreactions and over-exaggerations, now you're just going to be in your normal space of everybody thinking you need a straitjacket again, or you need your esoteric medication again, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or we glad you ain't show up for work today without calling off the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff. We don't want that for y'all Pisces. Or, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, here's the thing. You may misunderstand why, I love y'all Pisces, but you may misunderstand why you or others you may misunderstand why they have expressed themselves in a certain way, or you may start to misunderstand why you express yourselves in certain ways. That's just really you over exaggerating. But just understand it's the in conjunction energy. And also you may misunderstand why others are expressing themselves in certain ways that will get you into a deep way of thinking and wanting to communicate more, or wanting to gain more understanding. So you may find yourself wanting to understand something more that you ain't really was giving that attention to previously, whether it's within a relationship, something you're entertaining, or whatever the case may be. Or you may find yourself a little bit more communicative or questioning than you usually be. You know what I'm saying? Where you probably always been a communicative Pisces because you're right next to Aquarius, but you may find yourself wanting to communicate about the things you wasn't paying attention to previously. That's on the ground basis of a misunderstanding, because it's misunderstandings is always negative. It's just things that you ain't even always paying attention to, so you want to know understanding of it. You may even not know you like that sport until you start gaining understanding of it. You see what I'm saying? It's simple stuff like that. That's all I'm talking about. But for the most part, that's the experiences that you may be having as the moon start to transition into Libra for all my Pisces out there. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, beep, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Aquarius Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and beep, responsibilities and opportunities and duties and everything. Goddamn it. Wreck the swat. Hold that yellow hoop. Massasoit. Mama no toy. Hee hee. Woo. Masasaki.